So, good evening. Welcome to Photo Modesto's online gallery. My name is David Schrader, one of the co-founders of Photo Modesto, and I'm your host for this gallery tour. For the past several years, every year in February has become Photo Modesto month in Modesto, with a variety of photo exhibits being hung around town and a featured exhibit being displayed in the Mifflin Gallery. However, this year, because of COVID-19, most gallery sites have been closed. Rather than totally cancel the event, we decided to put it online. An added benefit of this approach is that we can invite the artists themselves to join us in discussing their work. The theme of this year's event is literally about themes, titled Themes, Projects, and Stories, and is based on the observation that apart from wanting to display images that are technically adequate and artistic in nature, most photographers also seem to have something to say or have a favorite subject matter that is the focus of their work. At Photo Modesto, we thought it would be interesting to take a look at what some of our local photographers have been focused on. Today's guest is Anna Barber, an artist who has chosen to use photography and the computer as her medium. Her approach is unique to both photography and other visual arts. But rather than my going on about it, let's bring her on and find out what she's been working on and how she does it. So, welcome, Anna. There you are.
Hi.
Hi, welcome. Thanks for being on with us today. Yeah. So, you seem to have a unique approach to photography and art. And I don't know, I'm interested, I'm sure other people will be interested to hear a little bit about how all this came about. So why don't we start out by having you tell us something about yourself? I mean, where you come from?
Where I come from, oh boy.
What's been your artistic background? Because you define yourself more as an artist than a photographer. So
yes, I'm a lousy photographer.
Well, I'd like to hear about it. What's the art part?
The art part?
Yeah.
Well, I came from Latvia. I'm one of those nasty immigrants. And I was 6 years old when we arrived in the U.S. And we settled in Lincoln, Nebraska. That's where I grew up. And as most artists, I was always drawing and coloring and all that kind of stuff. So I decided when I went to college, I would be an art major. So I majored in.
Where'd you go to college?
University of Nebraska in Lincoln. At the time, that was its only location. Now it's got several, I think, locations. But yeah, I stayed home. And actually, I started out in teachers' college because back then, women were not really supposed to work. They were supposed to go to college to find a husband or maybe get a teaching degree. So I did start out in teachers' college, but I really hated it. So I changed my major to fine art. And I got a fine arts degree. Majoring in painting, oil painting and watercolors, and I also did intaglio printmaking, etchings. So unfortunately though, I got married right away after I graduated, moved to Des Moines, Iowa, and kind of, long story short, ended up being a single mother, divorced, and I had to earn a living. So I ended up in the insurance industry. Worked my way up to
good training for the arts.
Yeah, I was that whole time I worked myself up to a vice president position, and it was very lucrative and all that. But I was dying to do, something creative. So in the mid-90s, after a lot of years in the industry, I actually got laid off because the company was sold And I found myself out of work in my mid 50s when I was overqualified and I'm too old to find work around here. I ended up in California. I actually went from Lincoln to Des Moines, Iowa to Michigan to South Florida, out here to California. And I worked a little bit after that here and there part-time, and then I officially retired. So when I retired, I wanted to get back to doing something creative. But because of the loss of my job, which was also a loss of income, quite a large income, we had to downsize and ended up moving here to Little Ripon in a small house. And basically, there's no room here to paint, or I don't really have even a table, just a small table kind of thing. So that's how I ended up on the computer. Basically, it was like a necessity because of lack of space. So I had to learn how to use a computer, and I ended up taking some seminars that were put on by, I think, Adobe. They were trying to sell Photoshop and software and things like that. And I did some of those and watched some tutorials and trial and error, somehow figured out how to use at least some of Photoshop's tools and things. I also, when I went to the seminars, learned about the Wacom tablet and pen tool, which is a way to draw by hand, basically, on the computer. So I figured, well, why can't I do on the computer what I do on paper? Just use the computer screen as if it was paper. And yeah, so I kind of started out by painting and things like that. Over the years, I had always fooled around with photography, mostly, vacation pictures and things like that. Nothing real serious, although I did have a darkroom for a while. But that's kind of how I got to the computer thing.
Okay.
And
I was just trying to cut down some of the reverberation on the sound here. So sorry.
Okay.
So that's how you got there.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want, I just want to be creative and different. I don't like to copy anything. I don't even know that much about famous artists and their techniques or anything. It's just, I just want to kind of do my own thing, So I just sort of do it. And my instructor at college called me an accidental artist, which I think is a perfect description, because I don't plan anything ever. I just sort of jump in and start doing, playing, changing, whatever, and just see what kind of develops. And that's really what I do now too, using photography and pieces of photography and my own hand painting and all that. So
let's take a look at some of this stuff, and we can get some more questions going about it, because
okay.
I understand, I've known you for some time, and there's always been a little bit of controversy surrounding your work. Is it photography? Is it art?
Yes. Yes. Still,
I've heard you struggling. Like, should I enter this in a photo contest? Should I enter this as art?
As art, yes.
Whatever. So let's take a look at some of these things, and maybe we can sort it out here. So there you are. Let's go to one of your. Okay. Oh, this brings up another question before we start. Cats. I know
Yes.
you've done, you focus on a lot of different subjects, but
Yeah.
I always see a lot of cats in your pictures. So tell me.
Yes. I've always loved cats. I love animals, but cats in particular, just, I've always had cats all my life too. So I just think they're beautiful.
Okay, so that's your thing. Okay, well, let's take a look at some of these cats. Oh, by the way, are these all your cats or?
No, actually, this one is a beautiful calico Maine Coon, I believe, in Turlock. A lady who is at I forget the name of it's a elderly care place in Turlock. Anyway, she wanted some pictures of her cat, so I went and took pictures of her cat. It's beautiful. And so I, you know, did a variety of different things. Her name's Penny, so so I says double pennies in flowers.
Okay. How do you decide on? Whoa! Can you hear that? It
No,
sounds pretty bad at this end, but I hope it's better going out on the air. Anyway, how do you decide on what to how to embellish or change, or I don't know what you call it.
well, like I said, it's accidental. Yeah. Well, you'll notice in most of my work, especially with cats, there's always flowers. Mostly because that's what I have to take pictures of. I always have fresh flowers in the house. So I take pictures of them, or I'll take flowers outdoors, and I just combine the two. Kind of similar, actually, to the intaglio printmaking, where you built up images by layers. That's what I do in Photoshop. I build up layers, and I just kind of play with them until it looks like something I like.
Well, let's see how you played with other ones.
Okay.
There you go.
Oh, that's Max. I expected him to be here, but
I see a cat behind you.
is he? Oh, yeah. There's Max right there behind me. That's Max. He has the biggest eyes. That is our cat, Max. He's my buddy, and that's just two image. Well, it's actually the same image of Max flipped, and background just a sky I took. So that's a pretty simple one, actually.
It's simple, but very dramatic. At least
Yes.
at my end.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Closer up, you can see the reflections in his eyes and everything. And that was one of my nicer photographs that I took. And this is Murray. Murray is our other male cat, and those are shamrocks. And he's not actually in the shamrocks. I put him in there. So.
His eyes, are those the color of his eyes?
They are, but they're not quite that green. I just saturated them a bit. So.
Okay. Whoa.
Yeah. Well, this is a really old one, but this is Misty. She was Jim's office cat. She was his pest patrol in his office when he had a trucking terminal here in Ripon. She was just a gray cat. So this is a really elaborate, just a lot of images of her flipped and layered, and some of the graphics I think are from the rug she was sitting on. It's just quite a few layers there. Right. A lot of work.
Yeah. The effect is lovely abstract.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hang on, I have to let a cat out.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, this one. Okay. This one was purchased by the city of Tracy for their permanent art collection, which was really nice. But those are white peonies and many layers there and flipped, and I created the reflections and overlaid some cat faces. I don't know if you can see them very well on screen. That's one of my favorites, personally, and I did enter it a couple of times, and it just never got in the show. And then I entered it at Tracy Expressions, and is it William that runs the art?
I believe so.
Yeah, he really liked it and purchased it. So.
Oh, we did. Very
Yeah.
nice. Very nice. It's a lovely piece. I mean, the colors are nice. The design is nice.
Yeah, that was a lot of work too. That was a lot of work.
Let's see what happened here. Jumping around. There we go.
Well, that one, yeah, Mystic Peonies in Red, that's a similar, I tried to do something similar to that using red and white peonies. And that's the images of Murray, or Cat Murray, that was in the Shamrocks. But again, a lot of layering and some painting and cloning there too, I think. I use the healing brush tool a lot in Photoshop to create kind of cloned images, but they're a little bit not quite. It creates an interesting effect. It's not what the tool is designed for, but I use it like that. So I like the effect.
Very creative. Do you know other people who work like you do? Have you been in touch with other people you share these ideas with? Or?
No, I actually don't. I don't know anyone else that does anything like I do. Most of, yeah, I'm a hermit, so I don't talk to a lot of people. I think most of the people that do manipulation and manipulated work use strictly photography and don't mix it with the artistic stuff that I like to throw in there.
Well, it keeps you unique.
Yes, and that's the whole idea, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, that's an old one too. That's my cat Rusty, who's long gone. He was my favorite cat, I think, of all the cats I had. I felt like he was psychic. He could read my mind. I swear he could. But I like that, and I've got a big print of that in my my office where I have my big computer.
Right. It does look like a tapestry.
Yes, I have a tapestry filter on it that I had. I don't have that filter anymore. I forget what it was now. But yes, it's again layers, and then you can see butterflies in there because I also took a picture of a bedspread I had with butterflies on it that I overlaid over all these images of the cats. Yeah, lots of layers again. Yeah, I just did that not too long ago. That cat is a neighbor's cat named Odie or Odin. He's a big, big, fluffy cat. He actually comes over, walks through our cat door, and stays all day. And we have to kick him out when it gets dark because his mom gets upset if he doesn't come home at night. So he's stayed over here overnight a couple of times, and they'd be all upset with us because we didn't kick him out. So now we kick him out. But he comes over almost every day. He lives about 4 or 5 houses down the street. He comes here to hang out.
Well, he knows where home is.
Yes, he likes us, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, no cats.
No, okay. So let me just talk a bit here because I know cats and flowers are one of the main focus of a lot of work you do.
Yeah.
But you do other things. And another thing I wanted to bring up is that even though there's been a lot of, I don't know if the right word is controversy or consternation, something about whether this is photography or art and where it belongs, I've always been impressed that you probably have more contest ribbons than anyone I know. So
yeah, I have a bag full.
It has to be that people really appreciate this and see it as quite unique and artistic in its own right. So I just threw a couple of your, the ones that I know from your past in here.
Yeah, well, it depends on whether I actually get out to take pictures somewhere. And this happens to be pictures I took at the Sacramento Zoo. So I need to do more of that, but I just don't get the ability, I guess, to do that often enough to, get other pictures to work with other subjects.
Well, right now, given COVID-19.
Yeah, now it's really, tough.
So these are two, famous ones, award winners?
Yes, they're definitely award winners. The zebras, I actually got an international award for a black and white version of those. The Black and White Spider Awards. I don't know if you're familiar with that. That's a worldwide contest they have every year, and they have thousands and thousands of photographers, enter. So I was really proud of that one. I actually got an award.
You should be.
I've gotten nomination. They also give you a certificate if you get nominated for an award. And I've gotten quite a few nominations actually from both the color. They have two programs, the color awards and the Black and White Spider. And I've gotten nominations from both of those with my entries. But I actually got an actual award with the zebras, so that was pretty cool.
Very, very nice. So there you have it.
Okay.
Very nice. Very nice.
I survived. All right.
I appreciate you being on with us. I think your work is very unique. I've always been appreciative, been amazed at what you come up with, and actually thought, gee, maybe I should talk to her about how to use Photoshop sometime.
Well, I appreciate
doing it. So.
I appreciate that you appreciate my work. Thank you very much.
So thank you for being on, and I'm sure other people will enjoy your work as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right. So until I see you at the gallery, bye-bye.
All right, bye.